Hello, my name is Adam Farley, and I'm going to be applying for the Lowe's Supply Chain Development Internship. The goals that I have for this internship, I really want to work in a group setting. I want to increase my resume by creating projects that will be for the benefit of Lowe's, and I hope to end up actually working for Lowe's if I do well at this internship. So I guess we'll begin now.
Done any projects right now that would be relevant to this job?
So I have worked on a couple projects. So back when I was going into my freshman year here, I did an IT project for a hotel close to home where I worked on their, they had an issue with their heating and cooling appliances. So I was given that task and I was told to figure it out. And if I was able to figure it out, they'd pay me. And if not, they weren't going to pay me. So I took on the challenge and I was able to get this software that connected onto the heating and cooling appliances. There's like a little thermometer that would connect to this application that I used. And then you plug in a little hub onto the modem for the hotel and it would be able to track it throughout the day. So I was able to figure out if there was actually a problem with the heating appliance or if there was like an air leak in the room. And that was the first project I did. Moving on to that, in class my sophomore year, I did a movie database project, which is where you could input a user into a Java application and you would be able to pick out a movie. We also were able to do concerts as well. You could pick out your seat for where you wanted to sit in the movie theater or concert. Pricing, you were able to, we had discounts on it as well, and I have that linked onto my GitHub. Then lastly, I saw for this internship that they were looking for Angular. I actually have that on my GitHub as well. I made a basic Angular website that just used buttons to show like a product.
Oh, very nice. Sounds like you've done a lot of projects. So where do you feel most comfortable in a work environment?
So I would say in a work environment, my most comfortable situation would probably be in a group setting. I tend to work very well with multiple people around me. I struggle with figuring out a solution right away. So it helps me to figure out like what's going on when other people are around me. So like if I start something, they'll be able to kind of finish my thought and we'll be able to work from there. On top of that, I feel like I've had some leadership qualities that help out in a group setting where if maybe one person isn't up to the challenge for something, you switch them onto something that they're better at to kind of figure out the best situation for everyone within the group to be able to figure out the solution most efficiently.
So, what coding language do you feel most comfortable with?
The language that I feel most comfortable with would probably be Java. Like I talked about earlier, I did that movie database project that was in Java. I took Java 1 and 2 here at University of South Carolina my freshman year. I took a Udemy course for Java over winter break last year just to get just better at the certain data structures such as heaps and stacks, linked lists, arrays, 2D arrays, stuff like that. So I just wanted to, I know those are in all languages, but I wanted to make sure that I was proficient in one language because I know that a lot of internships are looking for one thing that you really stand out in. And I also took a kind of slightly Java class for, it was a coding efficiency class, and we used Java in that class as well.
So what makes you stand out over other candidates for the supply chain development position?
I think after all of that, I think the biggest thing for me would be two things. Would be my leadership qualities. I'm a TA this semester at University of South Carolina, and I'm using that to probably benefit me in a way where I would be able to take on some sort of position, even if I'm not a leader in that group, but knowing what a leader has to do to solve certain problems and being able to adapt to when someone tells me what to do, knowing how to do it. And moving on from that, also communication. I feel in a group setting, that's one of the most important things to be able to have like a good workflow. Without communication, you really wouldn't be able to do almost anything. Yeah.
So you talked about your leadership, so I'll move on from that. Can you explain how a sequential search works?
Yeah, so basically a sequential search would be when you pick whatever loop you want. It could be a while loop, a for loop. I'm most comfortable with for loops. And a sequential search would be using maybe a linked list, an array, and you'd be able to search each index throughout that entirety of that data structure to be able to figure out what you are searching for. It could be maybe a key element or something similar to like that. Maybe you're finding min or max element.
What would you say is your greatest strength?
I would say my greatest strength would be my communication skills. Like I talked previously, without communication, there's no workflow. I'm not one to be able to sit on my computer for hours and hours at a time like some other programmers are able to do. So I feel like that differentiates me.